Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bangers and Mash. Woo, 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 woo. We're back. We're back. Yeah, yeah, throw it down. What's up? Yeah. Oh, hey, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Just before we got on here, Mash, you were about to say something to me, and I was like, save it, save it, save it. So.
Congratulations on finishing practicum. Yeah, throw it down.
Yeah.
Mm, mm.
5 weeks, another 5 weeks. Hey, we pulled it off. Oh man,
I
how
mean, I
was
still
it?
have 3 days left, but we chilling.
Yo, yo,
We chilling.
we chilling, we out here, we made it.
We out here. Yo,
Yeah.
after my what's it called? Faculty advisor did my evaluation and left. I stopped
Uh,
giving a fuck. I was like, out the window, kids. Let's go. Let's roll.
sick, sick. Did you do that earlier or was that later on in the process?
Mine was literally last week Tuesday.
Okay, okay, sick.
And my faculty advisor, Abedin Ramtula, I don't know if you've had
Mhm.
him yet. He ended up being my old high school principal.
Oh, sick.
So I was like, Ayo. And he was like, Ayo.
Yo,
And we have to get a coffee and talk. And yeah,
that's so sick.
I
That's
know.
so sick. Networking, right, man? Wherever you make connections, you gotta maximize. You gotta capitalize on those.
Yeah, life is so weird. Like, it's strange, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Can I ask you for some highlights of your practicum?
Can you ask me for some highlights?
No.
I don't
What I
know.
meant was I was trying to be nice. I was trying to be polite, you know. Give me
Can
highlights
you,
now.
um, highlights. Let's see. I'm really looking forward to next week because we're doing a debate and I love debates. Like I love that stuff. So like I'm
Right.
teaching my class about like public speaking and like how to be confident and
Mhm.
debate structure. And our debate topic is climate change actually good for the economy? So we have
Oh.
yeah, like it's creating new jobs and like making a lot of
Mhm.
money. So is it actually a positive? Like if we took away climate change, a lot of people would lose their jobs. So, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Um,
It'll be
anyways,
good.
so my grade sevens are debating that. My grade sixes are gonna be like the judge committee or whatever you call it.
Sick.
And so I'm looking forward to that. And
Mhm.
I'm bringing my snail to class tomorrow again, just like I did for our
Is it the
class.
same one? Is it the same one?
Yes, more
Yeah.
creative. So the grade sevens
Sick.
can do that. And I think yeah, we just have a lot going on.
Mhm.
No, it's pretty sick, dude.
Yeah.
And but I think my biggest highlight, well, I have two.
Mhm.
One is playing chess with some of the grade seven boys like almost every day at lunch
Yeah.
and learning that grade seven boys are better at me than chess and
I didn't realize how popular it is. I thought it was like a just an old people thing, and I include
yeah.
myself in that when I say old people thing, you know. But a lot
And
of
then
people like it. It's growing.
when I realized I was bad at chess, I was like, okay, let's play slapjack because I'm gonna smoke you guys in this. And then they smoked me again at my own game. Ridiculous. It's a scam. Um,
Yeah.
but another highlight is this one girl that is in my class. Normally,
Hmm.
she has a lot going on at home, but she doesn't really care about school and stuff. She never
Hmm.
tries. But I feel like I've really connected with her because we have a very like similar sense of humor and I'm just like closer in age to these kids.
Yeah, it makes a huge
Since,
difference.
since I've been teaching, she's actually been trying. And her last math test, she actually finished the whole test and almost got
Yo.
a passing mark, which is like a big deal. So I was like,
Yeah.
let's freaking go. Like you freaking did it. You did it. Sick.
Yeah.
Um, so that was my
That's
highlight.
awesome. That's
Yeah.
so awesome. That's so, I'm I don't know if I'm a firm believer, but I've noticed this a lot. It's really hard to create the spark in a child, but if that spark is there, we can fan that spark into a flame, and burn down a forest
Yeah.
with their passion, with their potential, but
Yeah.
creating that spark in them is very difficult, I think. So if that's already there, it's much easier for us to nurture it than create it.
No, like these kids are so bright. Like they're so bright. They just have so much going on, and it's so hard for
Mhm.
one adult in a classroom of like 25, 27 kids to deal with that. Like you need at least teachers.
I
Like
think
it.
so. I think so. Yeah.
What about your
So,
highlights? You do yours now.
there was a bunch of highlights. One of them, not necessarily related to class itself, was that I got to help coach the junior boys basketball team, and I
Yeah.
love ball, so we lost a whole bunch of games, but on Wednesday, actually, this past week, we had a tournament and we won 2 out of our 3 games, and that was the first W. That was a huge
Yo,
confidence boost for these guys, and I think
Coach
that's something that they
Angie at
really
the
need.
win, bro. Look at you. Hey,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah, it was
hey.
sick. It was so much fun to see them. And even though we kept losing, they kept getting better and better and better, which means that they were trying more, which means that they were learning and they were putting into practice, and that what they were doing in the game, is what they did in practice all over again. So like
Yeah, yo, you're fanning the flames, bro. The
that's
flames are lit.
it.
They just
That's
need to be fanned.
it. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm sad I won't get to see the end of their season, but the gym teacher is like, yeah, I'll keep you updated every game and I'll let you know what's good, man,
Why
because I
can't you
think the
just
kid
like go and see them play?
I definitely could. It's just a mission to drive to Ajax, to see them play. That's
That's
all.
fair. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair.
Another highlight was actually teaching music, because music is my teachable. So I was with a music teacher, so I actually got to teach music and conduct them. We started learning a piece together, and classroom management on its own is tough. If you throw instruments into that mix, it's a whole different ball game, So
Yeah.
it was tough, but it was a lot of fun because we actually got through most of that piece, in just a couple of weeks, and they could be ready to perform it in like a month, I think, and maybe even less. Yeah,
Okay.
so that was really cool for me to see.
Are you at least
Um,
gonna go watch them perform and stuff?
yeah. I told them when the concert happens in May, let me know, and I will. Maybe not blow off class, but I mean, I implied that I would blow off class to come see them play.
Don't blow off class, kids. Meanwhile,
Yeah. Prof, hey, I won't be in class this week. That was cool.
yeah.
And then also like during Black History Month, I actually got to play with one of the student bands because they needed a second trumpet, and nobody else was willing to step up, and nobody else, I think, had enough experience playing the trumpet to really play in this piece because it was just like 4 or 5 students in this mini band. So that was a lot of fun too to be up there performing. Um, yeah, those are some of my big highlights.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sad. It's bittersweet. The end of practicum is
yeah.
always bittersweet, I find, because we
So
connected
wholesome.
with these kids and I feel like we made some bonds, and then we're kind of just dip. If we have the ability to go back and visit, we do, but
Yeah.
like,
I feel like the third, sorry, not even the third, the fourth and the fifth week are when you start making those bonds, and then
yeah,
you just leave. Like, and those are
yeah,
like peak bond, right? So it's like,
yeah.
yeah,
Exactly. Oh, I thought of one more highlight. So there was this one recess where one of my grade 8 kids
yeah.
challenged me to basketball one-on-one, right? And I was like, yo, I'm in dress shoes, I'm in jeans, I'm wearing a jacket. You got your ball shoes on, you're in sweatpants, you're gonna smoke me, no problem, right? And he's like, nah, let's just play for fun. We'll play a quick game to 3. I'm like, okay, cool, right? He scores 2 quick points on me. So I'm like, all right, cool, right? And then I start actually playing just a little bit of defense, right? And I smoked him. I just started
Oh
fast
shit.
break because he kept leaving me wide open. He thought I would shoot it and I would drive right by him and I would score 3. And by the time I finished playing, there was a whole crowd of kids around us watching us, cheering me on. For the last week, this one kid kept coming up to me. He's like, "Yo, Mr. Nanji, can I have your shoes? I want your dress shoes that you beat the guy in. I want you to
Signed
sign
them.
them.
They put it
I
up
want
on
you
the award trophy case in the school.
He wanted to take them home. I don't know if it was for an award or if he just wanted, like Magic Mike type powers,
They
like
end
Mike
up
powers.
being sold on Amazon for like $1,000. Like,
You'd be lucky to get 1,000 cents for these shoes, okay? They were so funny.
how much is 1,000 cents? $10?
Something like that?
Yeah,
100, yeah. Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. 10 both. This is my pop's old pair of shoes, so that's why they're not worth much.
Oh. But that's so good though, bro. The kids are always gonna remember that. The time the student
Hmm.
spoke to that one kid in basketball. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And then afterwards, everybody wanted to play me 1v1. And I was like, guys, I can't play everybody. I definitely don't have time. But I would go to Friday drop-in basketball after school, and then I would, play a little bit. And we had some
Yeah.
teams and we were rotating. So I would play one game with each team if I could, type of thing. So I got
Oh,
to play a little bit with all of them and against all of them.
cute.
Yeah.
That's
It
so
was great. Drop-in ball. This is something that happened that was really cool. Once a week, there would be drop-in. It wasn't always basketball. Sometimes it'd be other sports, but
yeah.
the last couple of weeks that I went, it was basketball. It was just a chance for them to hang out and where they don't have school work to do, where they can talk to each other and just play and just they were allowed to chill on the stage and things like that too, because school is packed. I mean, aside from recess and lunch, they had 10 periods in the day. There's so much going on. So I feel like they don't really have a
And
chance to
period. Wait.
10 half-hour periods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Shorter periods, which was interesting. So if we had a double, it was easier to teach them something. It was easier to get through a lesson. But like I had some half-hour lessons, and by the time they get settled and everything, it's like 25 minutes, sometimes 23 minutes, and the
Yeah.
lesson's over before you know it. So I mean, I found that kind of tough, but like you never lose their attention. They never tune out, because half an hour I think is more than enough time for them to be able to pay attention. Whereas long periods, I'm sure
Yeah,
you've
I
seen
mean,
it, right?
shorter attention spans, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm so used to the structure, even during like 45-minute lectures, I'm so used to the structure of like, okay, you teach for 20 minutes and then the rest of the time is like, oh, these kids end up going off and doing some shit on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like just keep
Individual work.
yourself engaged. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
What
So
was the
that's
most
something that I
like,
had to contend with.
sorry? What was
I said
that?
that's something that I had to contend with, keeping their attention while also and teaching something while in short periods.
I
Hmm.
was gonna ask you, if any at all, what the most creative or Hussein lesson that you taught was, like your own
Hmm.
original Hussein lesson, like or just something that you thought of that you thought was really creative or like
I
you're
don't know
very
how much credit I can take for this because my teacher kind of suggested this activity to me,
yeah.
but we did one activity that I really liked. It was a music lesson, and so I don't know if you remember taking music in grade school or high school. Do you remember Every Good Boy Deserves Fudge and Face? Right? So there's 8 letters, A to G, that you use in the alphabet, right? That you use for music notes. So after we had a couple lessons on learning the notes, I would give them a word and they would have to spell it out with music notes. So they each had a staff and they each had notes and they had to place them on the music staff and spell out the word. And they love that. They absolutely love that activity and I love doing that activity with them. And I feel like that was a big growth moment for them. I didn't realize that a lot of these kids hadn't played instruments before, because of the pandemic. Even the ones that had only had a couple of months to play it, because they started off with ukulele before transitioning to instruments. So
Yeah.
some of them haven't played in a really long time and it was scary, but the fact that some of them could learn to read notes, even if they couldn't play their instruments, the fact that they were able to actually read music was a huge accomplishment.
It's a good skill to have. Like
Hmm.
later in life, high school, especially if they decide to pick up an instrument, they'll be like, "Oh, I did this before," like
Mhm.
yeah.
I had one student, she switched a couple instruments, over a span a couple of weeks because she was just getting frustrated with them. And so I suggested to my teacher, I was like, yo, let's put her on drums. I think percussion could be good for her because there's no pitches. You don't have to find the right notes. You just have to focus on the rhythms, and that's it. And she loved it. Almost every day for like a week and a half, she stayed inside during recess asking if she could get some help working on these rhythms for drum. And she before I left, she's like, I used to hate music, but just doing music with you, I think I can hack it, so I don't hate it anymore. And I was like, yo, that's so sick. That is so sick. I'm so
Awesome.
happy to hear that.
That's so good. Like that's like the
Yeah,
best thing that you can hear. Like that's
yeah.
awesome.
I don't expect anybody to fall in love with it over a couple of weeks, but if you hate it less or don't hate it at all, that's huge in my mind.
Yeah,
You know?
for
Yeah.
sure.
It was good. It was good. I'm gonna miss my kids.
I can tell.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hmm. We have one more placement,
Yes.
October, something like that, right?
Big one. Yeah.
Yeah. Your first and second were both in junior classes? Or sorry, intermediate classes?
My first one was grade 5. This one is
Okay.
grade 6, 7 split.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you've done one of each already.
Yes. And
Hmm.
so interested to see where my last one ends up. I really hope it's in middle school because I actually like a bit more complicated instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Because with grade 5, you just have to keep it simple and but I like challenging them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
something that I did on Friday, which I thought was one of the best lessons I've ever taught, was like a public speaking lesson. So it was for literacy.
Tell me
So I
more.
went up to the class and I did a speech. Like I'm very used to doing that because I've done like
Mm-hmm.
speeches before.
Mm-hmm.
But so I did a speech. I gave like a basic how-to of speeches, and then they all wrote. So I said, okay, take like 5 minutes to write a few jot notes about something you're really passionate about. So they all
Mm-hmm.
did that, and then they went around 3 times. They took 3 laps around the class, found someone new, and they presented their debate.
Their
And then
points,
so
yeah.
that way their speech. And then we had a discussion about like the pattern
Well,
of like
pick good ones.
every time they presented it, it got easier and they actually memorized some parts. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, bro, that's public speaking, bro. And they were like, sick, bro. And
That's awesome. That's awesome. Incredibly important skill to have to be able to
yeah,
talk in front of people, public speaking. You know, in high school, they're gonna have to do it all the time, and down the road, they're gonna have to give presentations at work. Some of them, a lot of them, you know. So you have to be able to know how to do this. Critical, critical, critical skill, I think.
yeah. I
Mhm.
also started teaching them like APA 7th edition bibliography just because I was like, let's just do it.
They're not gonna need that for a while. Oh, my earphone fell, and I'm back. They're not gonna need that for a while. Also, you are frozen on my screen right now, Mash. I don't know if y'all can see this. Oh, okay, you're back. Hi.
I'm back. I
You
don't
were
know what
frozen for a
happened.
second. You were
It's
frozen
all
for a second.
good.
You were just like this. You were posing. And I was like, okay, that's
That's
cool.
never happened to us before. I think this is the first time
No, it
it's happened.
hasn't. Yeah. I can't wait to play this back and see
Yeah.
if it's frozen on the video or not.
But what were you asking? Like what about APA? Something about APA?
Nothing. I was like, when are they gonna not gonna need that for at least like 5 years, 4 or 5 years, or they're writing essays in high school and university.
No, I did citation in grade 9 and 10.
Yeah, but did you have to use a specific format? Because I didn't learn about formats of bibliographies, I think,
Yeah.
until grade 12.
Yeah, I did. Maybe it was just my teacher, her being psycho, but yeah, we
Oh,
did we did APA and MLA in grade 9.
oh, snap. So maybe it'll be sooner than I thought.
Yeah. Or maybe I am that psycho teacher. Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But yo, better to be prepared, right? When it comes around, they'll have some experience with
Just start throwing like grade 12 calculus at them now.
it.
They'll get used to it. But these kids are smart. Like these
Mhm.
kids, we underestimate kids so much. Like they're
I
so
agree, and I think that's partially due to their lack of life experience,
yeah.
but I mean, that doesn't mean that they don't have the knowledge or the information. They have more access to information than we did when we were this age, right?
Yo, I was a dumb 7th grader, bro. I don't know what I was doing, but I was stupid.
Wait, what was I doing? Oh my God.
We actually had an incident though, that
Oh,
kind of shook me. Well,
mm-hmm.
we had 2 incidents that are like gonna stay with me forever. One, I was in a secure and hold because someone threatened to shoot up our school. So we were on secure and hold all day, and all of the teachers were like, gotta call my family. And then they told us to shut off our phones and put them away forever. Not forever, but like for the rest of the day. And we were
Yeah.
like, how serious is this actually? Um, and then turns out it was pretty serious because like all of the like even my AT was like she walked in the classroom, she's like, oh, okay, kids, and she's like visibly shaking. I'm like,
Shaking.
okay, what's
Hmm.
going on?
Something's wrong.
Yeah, so that was an experience. Um,
Hmm.
according to senior teachers, it happens quite often, which is stupid.
Not okay.
No,
That's so messed up.
that's so messed up.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's ridiculous. And then second incident was there was a bus driver because the kids they go on buses,
School
right?
buses.
So
Hmm.
there's a select group of kids that go on a select bus every
Hmm.
day. And so their bus driver, this Russian lady,
Mm-hmm.
Apparently the buses have speakers, so she was playing music. And one kid was like, "Oh, can you play some Bollywood songs?" And then the Russian bus driver lady goes, "I can't play that. If you want to listen to that music, go back to your own country." And then everyone on the bus went like crazy. And then the kids started repeating what she was saying and like being racist. And then like one of the kids came and told me about this. And I was like, "Why are you
Mm-hmm.
telling me? Like, I'm a student teacher. Go tell the principal." Like, this is
Mm-hmm.
deal with. And then so she did go and tell the principal. I never got an update on that situation. But
Mm-hmm.
like, bro, um, the types of racist things that I hear, even like in the hallways, especially directed towards like Muslim people or Black
Mm-hmm.
people, is like crazy. Like middle school be crazy. I just
Yeah.
the fact that it happened on the bus and like
Mm-hmm.
what? Like I don't know.
Another
That
takeaway for me from this incident is that how impressionable these young people are. You know, they're going to hear something and going to see something and they're going to start repeating it, you know, without knowing what it fully means.
they're like sponges.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Um, that also reminds me that there was a Muslim Students Association at my school because there was a lot of Muslim students that went there.
Yeah.
And during Ramadan, students were allowed to go hang out in the library, you know, instead of in the classes where all their classmates are eating. So they don't have to be around all that. And I thought that was really cool. You know, the
Yeah,
fact that they have an organization for this, A, but B, that they have a place to go, you know, and hang out and things like that. That was
that's
really cool.
good.
Yeah.
That's good. And then
Mhm.
meanwhile, like on the bus, they get
Go back to your home country.
or like Islamophobia, like
Hmm.
stupid.
Hmm. That's why. Well, where was the school that you were in?
Hazel McCallion, it's in Mississauga.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
you're in
The
South
principal told us she would deal with it, so I trust that she did, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
get an update.
Okay, yeah.
So,
That's scary though, man. The fact that they just started repeating it like that after hearing it one time.
yeah. I mean, there's
Mm-hmm.
kids in the hallways that use like the N-word with the hard R and like these kids aren't even 13 yet. So you know that they're
Mm-hmm.
hearing it from either older kids or their
Mm-hmm.
parents, or maybe they're watching things they're not supposed to be watching, you know?
Mm-hmm. I
Like it's
also
not,
assume that a lot of them play video games and they play
yeah.
online and they hear a lot of this from there. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I cut you off. What were you gonna say?
That was it. I was just
Mm-hmm.
like, there's just so much that as a teacher, I don't even know how I would control. Like classroom instruction and like pedagogy and whatever, like that's fine. But then you get
Mm-hmm.
into all of these behavioral issues and stuff that they don't teach us about. And it's like, how do we actually deal with that? How do I deal with the fact that I need to be in a hold and secure and I need to message my family and just be like, hey, just so you know, I'm shutting off my phone. I might die. Ha ha ha. You know, like how do you deal with that stuff? Like that's all part of our career, and then nobody teaches
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Do
Sorry,
you
that was a
feel
lot
it?
I threw at you. It was like,
No, no, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like they don't prepare us for, and I think there's stuff that they do try and prepare you for. So my follow-up question was, have you been able to apply anything that we've learned in classes to your practicum experience?
it's a tough one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. I think I just learned from my ATs, and they provide me with a bunch of materials, especially this
Yep.
AT. She was just kind of like, I'm gonna sit back. You take all
Here's your
of this.
unit. Yep.
Yeah, you do it. And so I've just
Mm-hmm.
been doing everything on my own and trying to hit off check marks of what these kids need to know by the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing fine and they seem engaged, but
That's good.
it's like all of the behavioral stuff that they don't prepare me for, I don't know how to deal with. I don't know how to deal with a kid when he claps back at me, you know, like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to deal with kids who just don't care. I don't know how to deal
Mm-hmm.
with kids who walk by and said the N word and like it's like okay, I can yell at them now, but they're just gonna do it again. Like, what's the root of the
Mm-hmm.
problem? Like, we don't know this stuff. Like, what makes kids go on
Mm-hmm.
TikTok and threaten to shoot up schools? Like, who deals with this? It's not my job. But then it's
Yeah.
like, who
But it
is
also is kind of our job, or at least it will be at some point,
yeah, and
right?
they don't tell us that that's what the case is going to be, right?
Mm-hmm. How do you prep for that? How do you prep for this kind of shit?
I don't know. It's so stupid.
Hmm. Hmm. I think you could possibly even justify having more practicum experiences as opposed to just 3 over 2 years, you know,
Yeah.
to prep us specifically for these kinds of scenarios that we don't specifically learn about in school.
Or maybe just more like psychology courses, but like not the stupid psychology course we had first year, but I mean just like more practical stuff, like why kids might be behaving the way that they do, you know, like especially the
Mm-hmm.
troubled kids, like the kids
Mm-hmm.
that like it's not their fault, but like just why they're giving us so much trouble, what the cause of that could be. Right? Like I've seen a kid in the hallway, like after a teacher tells him not to slam his locker, like he tells her to go kill herself, and then she just stands there like this because she
What
doesn't
do
know what
you
to
say to
do.
that? What do you even say? What can you say to that?
You
Like,
can't say anything.
yeah, that's so not okay.
Like I've seen her walk away because she doesn't know how to respond, and I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like you can tell a kid to go see the principal 1,000 times.
Yeah. Mm. What is right and what is wrong, and where are they learning what's right and wrong from? Those are the questions we need to be asking. Mhm. Um, 162, if you've had any experiences, that you felt like you were unprepared for, let us know. When you watch this, let us know if anything happened during your practicum and you're like, how do I deal with this? Or where can I learn more about this? We want to hear from y'all, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Samia with that, like those things that they put up on the slideshow for everyone to see
Mm-hmm.
that were clearly incorrect. Like, who's fact checking that, bro? Like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
as a student teacher, do you go up and just be like, first of all, like, like, do you go up and do you do that or
Mm-hmm.
I don't know?
So, this just reminded me, I'm gonna veer away from this serious topic,
Oh yeah,
about fact
please.
checking.
I
So,
think we need a segue. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we were talking about Confederation and Canada becoming a country because I was teaching some history lessons. Okay, so we talked about the fathers of Confederation, and we also talked about the mothers of Confederation. And
Daddies and mommies.
yes, of Canada, essentially, of this country becoming a country. So we were doing projects, we were doing just a little bit of research on the mothers of Confederation. One of them was Anne Brown, wife of George Brown, whom there's a college named after in downtown Toronto. I'm sure a lot of you already know this. So
Mhm.
when some of them were presenting on Anne Brown, they didn't even fact check themselves. Okay. So there's Anne Brown, the mother of Confederation, who died in 1906. And then there's a Anne Brown, a singer who was born in 1912 and moved to Norway in the 1940s. Okay. So in the first slide, they give some personal information about Anne Brown, and they're like, she died. She was born in 18 something. She died in 1906, and then she moved to Norway in the 1940s. And I'm like, guys, have you read this? Did you read your own presentation? How is this? And I couldn't laugh, but I thought it was hilarious in the moment. And I'm like, guys, I can't give you a passing mark. I'm gonna give you one day to fix this and go home, fix this, and come back and present again tomorrow because
Oh
this is
my God.
so they were presenting a little bit about Anne Brown, the right one, and a little bit about, and they just kind of just mixed and matched the facts, and it was so hilarious to
It's
me.
okay. Now they're gonna know forever. They're gonna have this knowledge in the back of their mind that there are
Mm.
two Anne
Anne
Browns.
Browns, that's all they're gonna remember. They're not even gonna remember like what the presentation was about, what the topic was about. You know, they're just gonna remember there's two Anne Browns, and that's it.
Yeah. And sometime in the future, someone's gonna ask them about Anne Brown. They'll be like, wait. Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, right. The singer or the mother of Confederation. Oh,
This is really important distinction.
yep, yep. I also just got the 10-minute update that we're gonna be out of time in 9.5 minutes now.
Yeah. I feel like every time
Mhm.
you bring the timer up, I lose track of anything that I've been wanting to say, and it's just all silence now in my head.
Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but also I'm not
Okay.
sorry, because we had a
Yeah,
good
it's fine.
conversation, I think.
It's your job to do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, right.
The reason we've decided it's your job to be the timekeeper. So that's yeah.
I'm okay with this. I'm very okay with this, yeah. And you know what? Like I was just thinking, speaking of time in general, like we said that we initially when we started this podcast, we were doing an episode a week and we were pumping
Yeah.
them out real good, and then I guess practicum just got busy. We haven't done an episode in like 3 weeks. So I'm
That's
sorry,
okay though,
162.
because that's okay because we're gonna pick it up now that we're done practicum. I just think that
Right.
practicum is so hectic because it's a full-time job, but we're not getting paid
Yeah.
for it. So we need to do our
Yeah.
other jobs to make up for that. I picked up a third job while I was in practicum because I've just been dealing with a lot of like stupid stuff at the gym that I
Yeah.
work. I've actually started
Mm-hmm.
personally training a few people from our cohort. So I trained
Sick.
their kids and I trained Xandra as well.
Sick.
So yeah, so I've
Mm.
just been grinding. Like I've been
Yo, now's the time. Now's the time.
yeah, but then like I get so stressed out, like I get nosebleeds and like
Mm-hmm.
it's been a lot.
Take care of yourself. You gotta
Yeah,
take care of yourself care. I know grind, you gotta grind and you gotta hustle, but you also gotta take care of yourself. Yeah.
but after practicum is like there's a lull moment. So I think now we can
Mhm.
start popping out. But it's also been, I think, 3 months since we started this podcast, and we've done really well for three
I think
months.
so. I think
Yeah,
so. And we're gonna do our absolute best to get a guest on for next episode, right?
yeah. I
Um,
think we should just pick one. I think we should just pick someone because I have no idea if we had already done that.
yeah. No, I don't think we had, except for our first one. Our first one
Yeah,
was the only one that we picked. But I've got a couple of people in mind that I think might be good,
yeah, yeah.
which is everyone. All 20, however many of us there are. I'm excited. Yeah. I did say in like the first episode, this will be once every week, every 2 week, once every whenever. I remember that line. I said once every whenever. So we weren't really obligated to do weekly episodes, but we did set a precedent, and I do feel bad. But
Yeah.
now we back.
That's
Now
such
we
a
back.
cute thing for us to just stand by once every whenever. Like that sounds so good. Like that's
Can that be our tagline?
yeah, once every whenever. We post 1 year from now and it's like
Yeah, this
oh,
will be
but
dope.
we're gonna go places with this podcast. We're gonna be sponsored by Drake. We're gonna internationally travel. We're gonna have basketball teams following us. We're gonna have like coach buses with our faces on them. Like,
Joe, that would be sick.
yeah,
Would you be okay with being sponsored by Drake? Would you still be part
yeah.
of this?
Well, as long as he's giving us money, I don't have to like him for him to be our sponsor.
No, but then I would probably start playing his music as part of our intro and our outro and things like that.
It's okay. My distaste has already been known. So
Okay.
people who are MASH fans, the Masheronis, they'll know. They'll know.
You're saying macaronis?
Yeah, that's what you know how for podcast hosts there's always like people who like one person more than the
And
other.
the other, yeah.
My fans are like the Masheronis. Yours can be like you can come up with your own name.
I would like to say that I'm the number one macaroni. I'm your biggest
Oh.
fan. I'm hands down your biggest. I think you're the glue of this show. Hands down.
Oh, I would beg to differ, bro. You got the podcast. You got the podcast voice, bro.
It's just because I have a Zoom account. That's all it is. You're giving me too much credit.
You got the podcast voice. You always come in, you always looking
Mhm.
fresh. Meanwhile, I'm just like,
Uh, Like I told Max this earlier before we actually started recording, but I have not yet showered today. She's like, your hair looks good, it's wavy. I'm like, yeah, these waves are because I haven't washed it yet.
that's
But I
okay.
appreciate you. But I
Yeah,
appreciate
no
you.
problem. Bro,
Yeah.
everybody knows that like when I get stressed out, max
Hmm.
I'll go without showering is like 2 days. But I get stanky, bro. But then that
Yeah.
shower after you haven't showered for days, best shower.
Epic.
Yeah.
Epic. Epic. Also, Tangent, do I have to come up with a name for my followers?
Yeah. Mine are masheronis. So you can go with bang or something.
Bangers? Yeah, but are just bangers, is that inappropriate?
The bangers. No, pick something else.
Okay. Okay. I'll come up with something. I'll come up with something
Yeah.
creative.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Masheroni Island.
Yeah. I think this is a good place for us to wrap up right now. This is a good episode. I had fun. I really missed
Yeah,
you, and I'm glad we were back on track.
yeah, it's just, man. I miss
Yeah.
everybody. I can't wait till we start
Yeah.
hanging out again because we're gonna be in classes together, and then everyone
Hmm.
like remember that we all exist, and then we'll be like,
Yeah.
"You want to hang out?" Like, yeah,
Yeah. Yo, let's see if we can plan even a mini hangout, but if we can ha like even a jam or such. We talked a little bit about this, about hanging
yeah.
out with everybody, doing maybe a little party or something. If we can pull this off, that would be so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raves.
Mhm. 162, thank you for tuning in. We love you. We miss you. We're so excited to hear all about your practicum experiences, about your
Sorry.
I love it. I love it. I don't know what could sum us up better than that moment right there.
No one under the age of 18 should be watching this podcast.
Yes, please. Yes, please. And we love you. And we're signing off. Bangers and mash.
Bangers and mash.